Kiss FM.
Ask Cliff, are you planning a European tour?
No, I'm not really. I mean, I tend not to plan tours. It's usually requests by people to say, what about if, would you like to come and tour Europe? And when somebody says that, I probably would say yes. But at the moment, we're not planning a European tour.
No, you actually said that earlier, that after this 60th anniversary tour, next year, apart from a few odd concerts, it's going to be a resting year, yeah?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know whether I'll get a chance to record again next year, but it would be nice to do something like that. But at the moment, I'm planning to give it a break. And then, of course, I'm now thinking about what to do for my 2020.
And I think the lady who asked that question
You're not going to give it up, but
is the lady who just called in, by the way.
I think so,
bearing gifts. And she's asking you, Bonnie, and I can actually answer the question for you. She's saying, how about a concert in France? Well, I don't think that's possible because she tried that in 1976 and got lost.
You know, I used to do a lot of work in France, but it all seems to be Scandinavia, Germany, Finland, you know, places like that now, you know. I'm always on the road, as you know.
And
you know.
supermarkets like Iceland.
Supermarket like Iceland.
You had a big hit with a duet you did in France.
Yeah, it was #1 for 12 weeks running in France. I did a cover of one of my songs, Total Eclipse of the Heart, with Karine Anton over there. And we couldn't believe it. It stayed at #1 for 12 weeks.
That's unbelievable.
That's really good, yeah.
Yeah.
And funny enough, Carol Bundy asks a very similar question of you, Bonnie. Any plans to do more than the 3 dates that have already been announced for next year?
In the UK,
Oh.
well, definitely I've got a tour planned for Germany again. But in the UK, this time I would think that there would be a tour because of this new album coming out in March. And I'd love to tour in the UK all over, you know. Because whenever I do shows there, I get fantastic response. It is amazing.
Got to come over one of these days, but you know, I've not been back to the UK for well over 10 years. So
Really?
every time I try and make a plan, something, could you just, or will you, or next week could you? And well, we stay put. Question here also from Carol said, and I think you did answer this in a slightly different way earlier, Cliff. Why did you decide on all new songs for the next album, Rise Up, after previous ones were covers or older remixes?
Well, it wasn't as though I decided that. It was that the record company, I was just assuming that I would be doing a record with them, and I thought it's going to be another album of revivals. It was their idea that I should do this album of brand new songs, and I said to them, you're willing to take the gamble, remembering that nowadays radio stations tend to play, well, they don't play people who are older than 30.
I think it's changing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's nice to be, because at the end of my footnotes, I wrote some notes out but for the promotion, and I said, longevity should not be something that puts you off. Yeah. It's a plus. It isn't a failure of any sort. And because people like Bonnie and I, who have been around 4 or 5 years now, we kind of know what we're doing.
Right,
but of course, you
It's
still have to put it out to them. And in the end, as I wrote to say, if you give it a listen and you don't like it, then buy something else. But you should check things out, not just because someone is of a certain age. So I'm hoping that we might break the barriers a bit. Maybe we can all start getting back and playing.
I'm very positive about my new album, and and like you say, you know, we're experienced, we know what we're doing, and you know, we're always working. Well, I'm always working in different countries, so you know, I want to be successful in my own country as well. You know, so hopefully, with the new album, I'll be played on all
Darling,
the radios.
I see you in the charts.
Yeah. Do you know the first time I met you was on Top of the Pops in 1976 with Lost in France, and you asked me. I asked you. I said, would you mind signing an autograph for my little brother Paul? My little brother Paul is now 55. And you said, oh darling, they've just called me to the stage, but give me your address and I'll post it on to you. And you never forgot, you sent it. And you remembered his name, yeah.
That was when we first met. Yeah. She asked me that question. I said, and you are?
Well, you know, you talking about doing remixes of the older songs, and I remember a certain lady not sitting too far away from you about 3 years ago said, "Oh, I'm not going to do any more recording. Look, you know, I'm just going to live on the ones I've done." Oh dear.
I just love it too much.
I
I
know.
just love it too much. And I've been given some incredible songs. I mean, like I said, Barry Gibb's written me a
Yeah.
song. I've done a duet with Rod Stewart. One duet, not a whole album,
Yeah,
like it
I
said
think
in the
we've
Sun
cleared that one
newspaper.
up now.
And I've done one or two covers on there that a girl has never done before, and but most of the songs are brand new. I don't know what the title of the album's going to be yet, but it's not out until March.
Well, I have to say that when your office sent me the copy of Stronger Through the Years, yeah, it arrived. And my wife took delivery of it, and she said, "Oh, this has come from Cliff Richard." She immediately opened it, and I didn't see it until the other day when I was putting my stuff together to bring here. And she put it on, and she was playing it at full volume, and she came through to the living room, and she said, "Do you know something about Cliff? You said this some time ago, that with the passing of the years, his voice has got better. And when I'm listening to the remixes of some of the originals, you know, from the 50s and 60s, you know, I think that is true."
I think probably what happens is, for instance, I can remember back to my start. I was a shy singer, and my dad used to say to me, "Why don't you sound like Marty Wilde or Jerry Lee Lewis?" And I said, "Oh, well." And in the end, what happened was that I was only 17 when I made my first record.
Yeah.
So as the years go by, what you do is you pick up a bit of experience, you start thinking, "Wait a minute, I'm going to go, yeah," when no one expects it. And slowly you get confidence. And I think that's probably a better way of describing it than saying my voice got better.
Yes.
I mean, I think there are certain notes that I'll never catch again. There were certain high falsetto notes, and we don't talk anymore, that I have to do just a little bit lower now.
I do most of my songs lower.
Actually, I've got to disagree with you on that, Cliff, because it was only a couple of years ago when you did the concert at the Winery, yeah? And it was a really, really great afternoon, and you did We Don't Talk Anymore, and you hit all those high notes. I had a sore throat listening to it. I thought, how does he get that high?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. See, you can still sing in falsetto, but there are certain notes that I do. Like Devil Woman has a note at the end which is not falsetto; it's a high head voice. I can't do it in my head voice anymore, so I just go,
Falsetto.
"Yeah," which is probably a D or something like that, which is what opera singers do. I mean, but they sing big, like Bonnie. Bonnie is the Pavarotti of pop.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got a big voice, hasn't she?
Oh, yeah. You wonder where that voice comes out of such a little body, don't you?
I wish it was little, around the middle.
Stop it, you're lovely. Now, here's a question for you both that's come all the way from the other side of the world, from Jodie in Adelaide, who asked the question, and it's got to be some ungodly hour there at the moment: is there anything musically, professionally, or personally that you'd both like to do but haven't as yet?
Do you want to go first?
You go.
Well, I mean, in point of fact, you know, when you've been singing as long as we have, we've both been very fortunate with the length of our careers. You tend to you have a go at almost everything that you ever wanted to
It's
do.
not over yet.
It's just that you never ever. You know that you're never going to reach perfection, but you therefore have to keep trying. So I'd like to keep trying to do that. But this is from Australia, right?
Yes.
There is one thing that I want to do, is I'm going to do an interview with Kerry Ann Kennelly, and she's a very famous TV presenter in Australia, gorgeous blonde lady, a bit like you, darling.
Oh!
And I am going to do an interview with her because she wanted to talk to me about what I've been through. And I said, well, I can't talk about it until I've been through it.
Yeah.
And now I'm through it. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm sure that the questioner will know the name, Kerry Ann Kennelly. And so I'm looking forward to doing that. So that's just a personal thing.
Well, funny enough, a very similar question came from Dort Jensen in Denmark, who was saying, do you have any big dreams or anything you'd still like to achieve on a personal level, not necessarily musically?
First thing that comes to my mind is just keep healthy.
Ah,
You know?
what a darn good answer. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Without health, you got nothing of you. You know.
No.
But you know, I just I'm very happy with my life the way it is.
Well, that's nice to hear. Now, Linda Krakow from Enfield in Middlesex says to you, Cliff, apart from tennis, what do you do in your spare time? He eats chicken peri-peri.
Well, you know, I play tennis, and then when in my spare time, I watch it.
Do you know, I know nothing about tennis.
Don't you?
No, I'm terrible.
Got
Well,
a
I
yellow
can-
ball and some rackets.
Well, I'll tell you something. Love means nothing to a tennis player.
Eh?
Part of the sport.
Is that a bit too subtle on a Sunday morning? I'll find another question.
I'm just not very good with hitting balls.
Well, actually, you're talking about love. I'd rather be 40 than love.
Now. Yeah, so Val Meyer McLaren in London actually asked the same question, really. Any goals or dreams? You know, you've answered that.
Well, I wouldn't mind filling the Albert Hall, the Royal Albert Hall, like Cliff does.
What, all right, 3 or 4 nights?
And you know, I mean, how many shows are you doing this time there?
I'm only doing 2 this time.
You did
But
7
you know,
last year.
I did 6 last time.
Yeah.
You can't always get into the Albert Hall.
Well,
You
it was
have to
booked for 5, wasn't it? And by demand, you did an extra one.
Yeah, I added
Yeah.
one. But it's very difficult now because we requested a bit longer, I think, but they only 2 days free. So we took those. But you know, the big claim to fame that I have at the Albert Hall is that I sold out 32 nights there.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Has
Well,
anybody
it
ever
is.
done that before?
Has anybody else?
Yeah.
I don't think so, but loads of people could. And someone's sitting right next to me who could fill it.
Oh,
Maybe you could.
in
you could.
Europe I could, you know. But,
Well,
anyway.
I'll tell you what, I've just got to make a quick mention of our sponsors, and I'll come back to you with a couple of things as we are slowly running out of time. Do you realise it's 11 minutes to 1?
Yeah.
It's OMG.
Yeah, perhaps you can now hold up the winners' CDs with Cliff and Bonnie, and let's tell us who are the winners. Who's the winner of yours, Bonnie?
Cindy,
Cindy from Alberfiora.
595.
Cindy in Albufeira.
Yeah.
And Cliff, who's won yours?
Mine was Andy
Andy
Grant.
Grant. Andy Grant, which is from Ballyken.
Andy Grant in Bolly.
But I've signed it to Andy and he's signed it to Cindy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's near enough. Doesn't matter.
Well, I'm sure they can get together sometime, yeah? And there's a couple of pictures we'll get with you a little later. But we must get on with some of these questions from the fans. Oh, we were talking about steal each other's songs.
Thank you
Don't know
very
if you
much.
get a chance to see the telly during the week, but I think it was last Monday. My wife watches Loose Women when she has her lunch.
Oh, yeah.
And Jake Crickenden, Stacey Solomon, and Russell Watson, they did a version of Total Eclipse of Funny that Cliff said if he was to do a duet with you, that would be the one he would probably choose. Yeah. Yeah, did you see
He asked
it?
me if I was going to do a song of yours.
Oh,
Ah,
right.
that's right. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, a song of
Oh,
yours.
that
Yeah.
would be good.
Right, now, from Anne Backhouse, she asked the question, have you watched any of your early videos, and what do you think about them now? Actually,
The early videos, I'm really happy when I see now, the videos now, I guess people can't afford to do them anymore because we're not really selling records the way we used to.
That's
But
right.
when I look back at something like Some People, those videos, they looked actually like movies. I don't know how they did it. It must have cost a fortune. And look at the ones the best videos I have ever seen were Michael Jackson ones. But they would cost like $1 million to make.
It did actually because I was nominated for a Grammy for the best video, and I was up against Michael Jackson. Well, of course, he won it. But Total Eclipse of the Heart, it's not bad coming second to him, is it?
Oh, no, that's right.
Oh, that's a pretty good
But it
accolade.
did. It cost an arm and a leg to make that video, and I don't like making videos, do you?
I think nowadays people do it almost, it's like the internet. It's all homemade stuff, which is okay. But in the end, if you're going to do a video, I would rather that you look good, feel good, sound good. And, you know, you need somebody like a film director to do it.
Yeah, we have to. We had a film director.
In those days, yeah.
Yeah, in them days. Now, like you say, we don't, the records don't sell like we used to sell like 50,000 copies a day.
A day,
didn't it?
yes.
But it doesn't happen anymore. So
People are downloading.
big
more, aren't they?
videos like that, I don't think.
I miss that though.
anybody does
I mean,
them.
I still like doing the videos.
I didn't.
Strange.
I always found it a chore.
This is the strange thing. We have to have hard copies of the CD to play them on radio here. This is why I always ask you, let me have a copy so I can at least say, look, here's my copy.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though we burnt it onto a computer, I've got the hard copy. And we bought it or it's been given to us by the artist or the record company.
I've still got all my CDs. I haven't got rid of my CDs. I still like going to. I still have CD machines. I'm not. You know, the Spotify's and all of that is all very well, but for me, I like to be able to look every 3 or 4 days. I say, oh, Fleetwood Mac, I haven't heard that for ages.
Yeah.
Oh, Bonnie. You know,
Oh no, you don't. You have to say.
I meant Bonnie Raitt.
I see.
Yeah, I know, my house is full of CDs.
CDs, yeah, I haven't got the heart to throw them. And at the moment, I think they are the best quality. An engineer that I work with says that probably the MP3 things will catch up eventually. But in the end, when you're listening to a CD, it probably is at the moment the most phenomenal sound that you're going to get.
Mind you, there was nothing with the sound quality of a tape cassette, but it wasn't pleasing to the eye.
No, but
Whereas
also,
CD cases,
but also
film
it
cases.
wouldn't have been as perfect as the CD. The CD somehow or another, the whatever it is, that whatever what it's made of, it accepts any sound perfectly that you want to have put onto it. So where I've started, my aforementioned engineer, Keith Bessie, I've given him numbers of my albums, 12-inch albums. He's cleaned them up, and then he's put them onto a CD, which means they sound exactly like a 12-inch album.
Yeah. Here's a question for both of you. Comes from Susan Lynch, and she said, well, Cliff, you've been in Panto, and Bonnie, you've produced some amazing ones in your time.
What?
Would you, Cliff?
Produce
Yeah,
pantomimes?
have you?
No.
Not to my knowledge. Well, this lady seems to think you have done. Well, if you were to consider producing a pantomime or possibly a musical yourself, which I doubt you'd have the time because you're always shopping in Iceland, or something, which we covered a little bit earlier on. Cliff, would you consider doing a part in there?
What, in a panto?
In a panto?
Well, I've been there and done that, really. I mean, my main claim to fame at Panto is that I was the first man ever to play Aladdin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it was usually played by a lady in leather, slapping her thighs, going, "Oh, hello." You know? So I was. The
Anita Harris was one.
Was she one? Yeah.
she
Well,
played
because it was.
Aladdin.
It's like, and of course, the leading dame was played by a man,
Yeah.
like Arthur
Well,
Askew.
always, yeah. I've never been in a panto. I love to see them, mind, you know, sometimes take the...
Oh, no, you wouldn't.
Oh, yes, I would.
Here's one.
The last panto I saw was with a guy called Owen Money, not Owen G.
Oh, I
Owen,
know him.
he was
On Real
hysterical.
Radio. On
Oh,
Real
he was
Radio,
wonderful.
Yeah, and he's got a brilliant band as well.
I know,
Yeah.
he's a good singer.
Yes. Here's a quickie for you, Cliff, from Rena Noordegraf, who says, what's your favourite tennis venue?
Tennis venue.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Wimbledon is probably my favourite venue. But I've been to all of them now, and they all have their own sort of magic. I mean, in America, for instance, it's a hubbub of noise, a hum of noise the whole time. But it's so exciting there. I can't understand it. But in the end, when I'm watching tennis, I love it when we're screaming for Murray or Tim Henman or whatever. As soon as they bounce the ball, it's like the air is sucked out of the arena, and it goes absolutely silent. So I think Wimbledon is my favourite place.
Well, on that subject, here's one from Josephina Jackson from New York City, the Big Apple, where of course you have a home. And her question is, Cliff, will you be going to the tennis quarter, semi or finals in Flushing Meadows? She understands, apart from the Arthur Ashe Suite, where there's a nice restaurant, there's also a curry kitchen. How's about that then?
Well,
but she can't vouch for it.
I've been to the American Open many times, but I won't be there. I won't be there this year. I'd like to think that I'd go back at some point, but no, I didn't know there was a curry place. But I tend to go to. I get invited to the president's box.
Oh, excuse me.
Not the president of a country, but the president of the Lawn Tennis Association of America.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah.
And the treatment there is second to none. It is absolutely fantastic, which is probably why I find the whole thing rather exciting. It's an amazing venue, 25,000 people.
Well, when you actually go there, and we've seen all the shots of you going to Wimbledon every day with another sharp suit, and apart from the strawberry sellers, your tailor must make a fortune in Wimbledon. You've recorded Travelling Light, so if you go to tennis matches and tournaments in the States, do you travel light or do you take all those suits with you?
No, only in England, only at Wimbledon do I change and go in different clothes every day, and only because the very first year as a member there, on the third day, this lady, they used the army, the military security for us at Wimbledon.
Wow.
And this woman came up in a little army uniform and she said, Sir Cliff, what colour is your jacket? And I said, well, when I bought it, they called it crushed strawberry. She went, oh, okay. I said, well, why do you want to know? She said, because every day, every night, we take a bet as to what colour you're going to wear tomorrow. I had to then go out and make sure I had 13 jackets to wear one for each day.
Different colour.
So now, every couple of years, I add a couple more.
I like that. I like the silver suit, by the way. So if you could grow a couple of inches and put on a few kilos, perhaps you'll pass it on. Yeah? Here's one from the Netherlanders, Sophia Blinkenhorst, who said, who will be the backing vocals and the lineup of your band when you do the 60th anniversary tour? It's sure to be great anyway.
Well, my band is pretty well the same band I always use. With the addition this time, I have a support band playing. They're called the Flyboys. And when I looked at it, I thought, wait a minute, the Flyboys have two of the guys that used to be in my band. And so Tim Bonser and David Luke, who play guitar and sing, I asked them, would you join me? I know you're doing the first bit.
Yeah.
And so they said, you're kidding. I said, yeah, but if you can do it, I'd love to have you along. Because my girl singer is pregnant and is going to be giving birth in October. So she's just sent her love to everybody and can't do it. So I thought, well, rather than try and replace them, Bonnie's not available and I can't afford her anyway. I've got two guys to join me, so they'll be with me. The fans will remember them, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, when does your next tour kick off?
I
Killarney.
start in Killarney. I think it's about the 26th or something like that.
The end of the month.
Yeah, end of September.
And then you're Newcastle, Glasgow, Sheffield, Nottingham, Liverpool, Manchester. Then you're back to your other home. What's it called? The Royal Albert Hall. Then Bournemouth. Then Brighton. Then Birmingham.
And nearly all sold out, I might tell you.
Oh,
then
yeah.
Denmark.
Well, they've got to get in quick if anybody wants to go, I know, because the tickets, I think, are very rare. And Denmark, when you're doing Denmark, at the end?
They're at the very last 4 days.
Yeah.
After Birmingham, we'll fly to Denmark. I'm doing two quite near Copenhagen, and then I think I'm playing Aarhus and Odense.
Yeah, and that all, well, it's going to be a busy time for you, I know, and it finishes sometime in October. Where are you going to go to chill out then, Barbados?
October, I get home on October the 29th. The tour, the four in Denmark finish on the 28th. I get home on the 29th.
Which home?
Well, I get back to Britain on the 29th. I'm going to join a friend of mine, Surinder Arora, who has a big charity evening every year. So I'll go there and sing a couple songs for him. And then I'm going to go to the States for a little while, and I'll chill out for a fortnight, and then I've got to come back and promote my album. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to do that. You have to be there to be available for TV and radio and stuff like that.
Oh, here's a really good one. I did pick this one out. And I am doing them, honestly, guys, in the order the questions came in. Julie O'Neill in Morecambe. She said, all your fans, to both of you, all your fans are always asking you questions, not least of all me. What would you ask the fans?
Oh, that's a funny question.
Yeah.
You start though.
I never understand why, like, you know, like some of my fans, they come to all the shows, right? No matter where I am,
Yeah.
everywhere, mostly in Europe, you know. But why do they always want to be in the front? Well, they're looking up, you know, and they can see all your, you know. I would much rather watch a show, I would, from like the middle of,
Yeah.
so that you have a great view and you see everything, instead of like this all the time, you know. But they always want to be in the front. They run
Well, yeah, but
to the
looking
front.
at you though, I can see you've got lovely nostrils.
And you know,
Yours are pretty nice too.
and the strange thing is, when I first met Bonnie in some of the early pictures, I had one of her that was taken up on a stage with these leather jackets as she's in full flow. I thought, my word, she is statuesque, you know, she's got to be nearly as tall as me.
And I'm only 5'2".
And when I met her, she was standing under my arm. Right, let's have another quick question. I'm going to play a bit of music and I'll then fill you in on what I'm going to be doing then. Dale Smith in New Zealand. She loves the idea of concerts screening in cinema, but does that herald the end of world tours?
Well, you know, funny, I've never thought of that. They did this. I've never done this before, but they asked if they could do this from. I think I'm going to be in Manchester. The concert that's in Manchester is being filmed, but that's for later use. On the night, though, what is being filmed is being shown in, I think, 700 cinemas around Britain. And of course, it just means that if we, like for instance, I'm only doing about 17 concerts in Britain. Other people can watch the show in their own hometown,
Yeah.
which is kind of fantastic,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
But you know what? Even doing that, in the end, though, if you're going to see a live show, it is probably better to actually be there. But this does give us a chance, without having to go to 700 different places to play. You do it in one place like Manchester, and 700 different cities can see it. So it's got its pluses and its minuses.
Right, I'm going to fill you in off air with a few little details. Meantime, I've really got to do a little bit of this.
Yes, I'm going to one. Yeah, I'm going to on your birthday, isn't it?
Yep. Yes.
Yes,
Which one are you going to?
on Cliff's birthday.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. Well, with a little bit of luck, you might be there when you were privy to the fan club's production of the Diamond
Oh,
single.
that would be lovely to see that.
Yeah, and it'd be nice. Hopefully they're listening, the fan club. Perhaps they'll let me have a copy and I can play it a little nearer the time. But they want you to hear it first, Cliff, as you know.
Yeah,
You've
I'd
got
like
to
to
be the
hear it
very
first. Yeah, it'd
first
be
one
fabulous,
to hear
yeah.
it. Well, as we're running out of time, I'm just going to throw in a few questions of my own. And can I ask you both, and you've both been extremely busy, and I know I've had difficulty in getting hold of you all. What has been the highlights of the past year in your individual opinions?
For me, this year has been fantastic working with my first producer. You know him also, David Mackay.
Oh yeah, Dave produced
Yeah.
a number of my songs.
Oh yeah, no. And there's a lovely picture of you in his studio actually, and a disc. Anyway, I'm working with David again, and he's fantastic. He produced It's a Heartache and Lost in France and my first few albums, you know. But we're getting on so well together, you know. And he knows a lot of people in the music business that are writing songs especially for me, you know, and they're great.
And it's not just he's a good producer, because he is. He's a really nice, good man.
Oh, he's a good man.
He and
Yeah.
Brenda, they're
Brenda. Oh, and she's such a good cook. After we finish in the studio, she just makes all these gorgeous dinners, you know. I think that's why I put on some kilos anyway. You answer.
Well, you talking about cooks, I don't know about you, I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning, and I'm beginning to feel a little bit hungry. How about you, Cliff? What were your highlights of your year?
Well, the highlight for me was winning my case
Of course.
against the BBC. And I hasten to say now, I've had to constantly say that you know, I was battling with the BBC. I am not battling with the BBC, the institution.
No.
It was a certain number of people at the top there that decided to do what they did. I think they were mistaken, and I think everybody believes that now. But that's been a highlight for me because it ended a 4-year and 1-day period that I don't think anybody should ever live through, and I don't want to live through it again.
Well, as I said at the very start of our interview with you 2 hours ago, I wanted this show to be bringing on back the good times, not only just for you, Cliff, but for you, Bonnie, all your family, all your friends that have stood by you both all these many, many years, and we hope you continue to go on for many, many more.
We will.
I value our friendship, you know that.
Thank you.
I love you both from the bottom of my
Oh,
heart.
it's welling up. It's
And
lovely.
I do appreciate the way you keep in touch with me, keep me informed as to what you're doing.
Thank you.
And you take me into your confidence.
And we appreciate what you do for us too.
We do, very much.
And all I can say is, I can't wait until we do it all the very next time.
Oh, I can.
You're a sod. Is there music playing?
Well, on behalf of all the team here at KISS, all the listeners throughout the Algarve and throughout the world, a big, big thank you to Sir Cliff Richard OBE and
Yay.
Dr. Bonnie Tyler. Big round of applause for them all crew.
Thank you.
Hey!
Ah, it's always a pleasure.
And he promised that we're going to be back, same time, same place on your dial, God willing, next Sunday morning. Keep it KISS. Sunset Reggae Show coming up tonight, 7 to 8. My thanks to Frankie Beats, giving up his day off to help with a bit of the technology here. You could catch him in the afternoons after Cy Freighter's breakfast show and before the drive with Sebo Monday through Friday. On behalf of the whole team, I'm Owen G saying ciao now.
Ciao.
God bless, and just be nice and take care of each other.